So our quiz tomorrow is on R4 and R5. So we're adding, subtracting, and multiplying. So the first part, we are adding and subtracting. So question number 1, I'm subtracting. What do I have to do first when I subtract, Joey? Distribute. So we distribute that minus in the middle to everything behind it. So it now becomes a minus 4x cubed, a minus 12x squared, and a positive 3. So if it's already a minus, it turns positive. What do I do next? Combine like terms. So I have an x cubed term and an x cubed. So what is 8x cubed minus 4x cubed? Awesome, 4x cubed. We just combine the coefficients in front, so it'd be 8 minus 4, which is 4, and then the x cubed part stays the same. When I combine these together, the x cubed stays x cubed in our answer. Next, I can move on to the x squareds. So what's 7x squared minus 12x squared? Negative 5x squared. Perfect. We just do 7 minus 12, which is negative 5, and the x squared part stays the same. And then lastly, 2 plus 3 is 5. So this is our answer. And then we always want to leave our answer in standard form, so start with the highest degree and then work your way down from there. So we start with x cubed, then x squared, and then just our constant would come next. All right, let's look at number 2. So number 2, I'm adding. What should I do first here? So negative 2x to the 4th power plus 8x to the 4th power. What would that be? Awesome, 6x to the 4th power. So we combine our x to the 4th powers. Then I have some x cubes. So 3x to the 3rd power minus 10x to the 3rd power. What would that be? Negative 7x to the 3rd power. Perfect. Just 3 minus 10 is negative 7, and the x cubed part stays the same. And then 4 minus 1 would be plus 3. Awesome. Any questions here? All right, number 3. I'm subtracting here, so what should I do first? Distribute the negative. So it gets distributed to everything behind it. So it becomes a minus 3x to the 6th power, minus 4x to the 5th power, and minus 6. So next we want to combine our like terms. I have 6x to the 6th power minus 3x to the 6th power. What would that be? 3x to the 6th power. Then 8x to the 5th power minus 4x to the 5th power would be plus 4x to the 5th power. And then 2 minus 6 would be negative 4. Perfect. So number 4, I have 3 sets, but I'm still doing the same thing. What should I do first? Distribute the negative to everything behind it. So it only gets distributed to the 8x and the 3. So it becomes negative 8x and negative 3. What can I do next? So I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have an x squared here and an x squared here. So I just add the coefficients and the x squared stays the same. So 3 plus 8 would be 11, and that x squared part stays the same. Then I have x terms, so I have 2x plus 4x minus 8x. I can just combine all 3 at once. So it's 2 plus 4 minus 8. Awesome. 2 plus 4 would be 6, and 6 minus 8 would be negative 2, and that x stays the same. And then lastly, I have 7 plus 5 minus 3. So 7 plus 5 is 12, and 12 minus 3 would be 9. So if you wanted to, you can combine the first 2 together and then just subtract the last one from it, or you can just do all 3 at once. The important part here is that you just stay organized. Just be careful. You don't want to rush these questions, because if you accidentally add 3 and 8 and get 12, then your answer is wrong. So just be careful with your adding. That's all we're doing here is adding. Let's take a look at number 5. So I'm adding here. What should I do first? So combine our like terms. So 10x to the 7th power plus 2x to the 7th power would be 12x to the 7th power. Then negative 8x to the 5th power minus 8x to the 5th power. Perfect. Negative 16x to the 5th power. Be careful. They don't just cancel out. They're the same sign. So just negative 8 minus 8 is negative 16. And then lastly, I have plus 2x minus 3x, negative x. Awesome. 2 minus 3 would be negative 1, but we don't put the coefficient of 1 in front of the x. So it's just negative x. All right, let's look at number 6. Now we're multiplying. How do I multiply number 6? What do I need to do? FOIL. So I start by multiplying the first terms. So what's m times m? M to the 2nd power. Then I multiply the outsides. So what's m times negative 3? Negative 3m. Then I multiply the insides. So what's negative 5 times m? Negative 5m. And then I multiply the last. So negative 5 times negative 3? Plus 15. Awesome. Negative times a negative is a positive. And then what should I do next? Perfect. I combine the like terms that I have in the middle here. So everything else stays the same. I have m squared. What is negative 3m minus 5m? Negative 8m. And then plus 15. All right, let's look at number 7. What do I need to do to multiply for number 7? FOIL again. So we start by multiplying the first ones. What's 5a times 7a? Perfect. 35a to the 2nd power. I multiply the 5 and the 7, so that's how I get 35. And then a times a is a squared. Then I multiply the outsides. So it's 5a times 4. So plus 20a. Then I multiply the insides. Negative 2 times 7a. Negative 14a. And then negative 2 times 4. Negative 8. Do you guys have a question? Okay. What do I do next? Perfect. Combine the like terms in the middle. So that 35a squared stays the same. But my like terms are 20a and negative 14a. So it's 20 minus 14? 6a. Perfect. So positive 6a minus 8. All right. 8. What do I need to do to multiply 8? I'm going to FOIL. So 3x cubed times x squared would be what? 3x to the 5th power. Awesome. When we multiply, you add the exponents. So since we are multiplying when we FOIL, we add the exponents. Yes?
If the exponents are the same, do you still add?
You still add them. Just like we did for number 6. When we had m times m, that's what gave us m squared. So we add the exponents when we multiply. All right, next I have the outsides. So 3x to the 3rd power times 5 would be what? 15x to the 3rd power. Awesome. Then we multiply the inside. So 3 times x squared. 3x squared. And then I multiply the last one. So 3 times 5. 15. Do I have any like terms here? Nope. So that's my answer. Can't combine anything in this step, so we just leave it like that. So what can I do to multiply number 9? So I could FOIL, but instead of FOILing, what else could I do? The a squared minus b squared. So we could do the shortcut here. So we could do the shortcut, or we could FOIL. We could do the a squared minus b squared because this one has a plus and this one has a minus, and it's the same numbers. You can only do it when it's the same numbers. A times b, a plus b times a minus b. So what's our a? 8y, so 8y squared minus, what's our b? 2 squared. So this one's our b. This one's our a. Question? How do I square 8y? Perfect. We distribute the squared, so it's 8 squared, which is 64, and y squared, which is just y squared. And then minus, what's 2 squared? 4. Perfect. So 64y squared minus 4 is our answer. Did anybody FOIL this one out?
Yeah.
Did you get the same answer?
Yeah.
Yep. So if you FOIL it correctly, you'll get the same thing. So you could FOIL it or you could use the shortcut on the quiz, whatever you like better. All right, number 10. Can I use the shortcut here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I can use a squared minus b squared because it's a plus b times a minus b. So what's my a? 6p squared is my a, so I square 6p squared minus, what's my b? 2p. So 2p squared. How do I square 6p squared?
Get the 2 times 2.
Distribute the squared, so 6 squared is 36. And then when I have a power raised to a power, I multiply the two numbers together. So that would be p to the 4th power. And then minus, how do I square 2p? Distribute the squared, so 2 squared is 4, and p squared is just p squared. So our answer is 36p to the 4th power minus 4p squared. So again, you could have FOILed this. If you FOILed it correctly, you should have gotten the same answer. So 11, I have another shortcut that I could use here. What's that shortcut? Perfect. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared. It's minus in the middle because it's minus in the middle here. So we could use this shortcut if we wanted to. What's our a?
4.
So 4x squared minus 2 times 4x squared. And what's b? 3. So times 3 plus 3 squared. So how do I square 4x squared?
It's 16x squared.
4th power.
16x to the 4th power, because when you have a power raised to a power, you multiply the two numbers. So I square the 4, which is how we got the 16, and I square the x squared, so it becomes x to the 4th power. Then in the middle, I have 2 times 4 times 3. What's 2 times 4 times 3? 24. X squared. I just leave that x squared there because I have no other x's that are multiplying to it. And then lastly, I have plus 9. 3 squared is 9. Any questions? All right. If I wanted to, I could have FOILed this one out. So I'm going to write it out FOILed. So I have 4x squared minus 3 squared. How would I FOIL a question like this?
Write it again.
I would write it again. So I have 4x squared minus 3 times 4x squared minus 3. That's that same thing twice. The squared means that you have 2 of them. So it's the same exact thing twice.
And you can't use the a squared minus b squared because they're both negative?
Right. So you could only use this shortcut if you had a plus and a minus.
So if there's only like one thing in parentheses you want to FOIL, it just times it by
Yeah, just rewrite it twice. That way we can see what we're FOILing. So here I multiply the first ones. So 4x squared times 4x squared would be 16x to the 4th power. Then I multiply the outside. So 4x squared times negative 3. Negative 12x squared. Then the insides would be negative 3 times 4x squared. So again, negative 12x squared. And then the last ones would be negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. And then do I have any like terms that I can combine here? What is negative 12 minus 12? Negative 24, and that x squared stays the same because I'm just adding them together. And then 16x to the fourth power and plus 9 stay the same also. So that is the same answer that I just got using the shortcut. So it's like saying 4 squared or writing it as 4 times 4. It's the same thing. When I write it as 4 times 4, I could get rid of the squared. So essentially, I'm just multiplying the same thing times itself. So this way was the shortcut way. And then the way we just did was foiling it out. Either way works. If you do it correctly, you'll get the same answer, the correct answer. So on the quiz, you can do it whatever way you want. Use the shortcut. If you don't like the shortcut, foil it out. But just make sure you know how to foil it out. Any questions? All right, let's look at 12. Do I have a shortcut for 12? What's the shortcut here? Perfect. A squared plus 2ab plus b squared. It's plus in the middle here because it's plus in the middle here. So what's my a? 2x. So 2x is my a, so 2x squared plus 2 times 2x. What's my b? 7. So times 7 plus 7 squared. So how do I do 2x squared?
4x squared.
Perfect. Don't forget to distribute that squared to the 2 and the x, so it becomes 4x squared. And then in the middle, I have 2 times 7. So 2 times 2 would be 4, and 4 times 7? 28. So 28x, because I have an x there also. And then plus, what's 7 squared? 49. So that's my answer.
What do you mean?
Just another question. So we'll call this one number 13. So let's say I had x minus 2 times x squared plus 4x minus 6. Something like this. So this is a little bit different. I can't just FOIL it because I have a binomial times a trinomial. I have 2 terms in the first one and 3 in the second. So how can I multiply these together? I guess you could, but it doesn't really make a difference if you flip it. What else could I do? Do I have any like terms that I could add together?
Yeah.
X and 4x.
But I'm multiplying. So I can multiply. It's just like foiling, but just like one extra step. So I start by multiplying x times all 3 things in the second parentheses. So instead of just multiplying the first one times both things in the second, we have to multiply it times all 3. So what's x times x squared? X what? X to the third power. What's x times 4x?
4x squared.
4x squared, awesome. And then what's x times negative 6? Negative 6x. So just make sure everything in the first parentheses gets multiplied to everything in the second. So now that I multiplied x times all 3 things in the second parentheses, I can move on to negative 2. So what's negative 2 times x squared? Negative 2x squared. What's negative 2 times 4x? Negative 8x. And negative 2 times negative 6? Positive 12. What can I do next? Combine like terms. So I only have one x cubed. So I'm going to start with x cubed. Then I have 4x squared minus 2x squared. What's 4x squared minus 2x squared?
Positive 2x.
So plus 2x squared. Perfect. We just do 4 minus 2, and then the x part stays the same. And then I have negative 6x minus 8x would be negative 14x. And then just plus 12. Do I have anything to combine with that? Nope, so just plus 12. So this would be our answer.